Still here, still dying to bring you the news. It's the New Eden Times News Network. I'm your host, No Style Fred, and today I have a very special interview with a key figure who helped coordinate this week's attack on the SRS Fortizars. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, my name in-game is SERAPH 9 BASARAB. I am with Faction Warfare in the Angel Cartel. I run my own little alliance called the SERAPH Division. Just a handful of us. My playstyle, basically, I like small gang stuff, and then I like doing things like I've been doing here with this campaign currently. I operate as a mercenary broker or fixer. I help people find contracts. I fulfill contracts for people, and that's kind of how this all got started with this recent contract here.
Could you tell us about the SRS Fortizar takedowns this week?
Yeah, so from my understanding, what's been going on with SRS is they seem to be doing, the typical high-sec war deck thing, and they've kind of expanded from just kind of killing people on the undock to sort of developing almost like a quasi-rental empire within high-security space. And I guess that's bothered some people, which is what prompted my client here to reach out to me and hire me and say, well, hey, what can we do about this? Can you help out? After which I reached out to some contacts I had in a few different groups, and it just kind of gained momentum and carried out this campaign. As far as my role, I just kind of get people together, kind of get a general plan of what needs to be done, and then I don't really micromanage specifically how people do things. As you can see on the kill mail, it's a bunch of different groups that usually kill each other most of the time, actually working together. So I kind of just help guide them to work together, and that's kind of how we've been handling this and how we'll continue to handle it.
It appears you have your fingers on the pulse and the ears of many influential residents of New Eden.
Yeah, I've been active almost consistently since 2011, so just my play style and the way that I kind of operate within the game, I do have kind of a lot of contacts in different places. I think part of the mistake that a lot of people do is they hem themselves too much into working with a particular alliance or coalition, whereas I think of it more, the way that I play the game is I think of it more as working with individuals that are influential in different groups and organizations. So, I interact with a lot of fleet commanders, and the fleet commanders, they can summon people and then they can do things. And if it's interesting to them, they'll work with me to do it, and that's how it goes.
The overwhelming reaction I've heard in the community is good riddance.
Yeah, very much so. These types of groups, and I've actually spent a few months in a war deck high-sec group for a while, and the gameplay is a bit different there. A lot of the time, and there's variations within the people that do high-sec war decks. You have people that strictly sit on the trade hub undock with their blinged out officer or faction fit vindicators and 15 guardians waiting to undock if anything goes wrong, and they just pick off people that either don't know much about war deck mechanics, or they're too new to fight back, or maybe they just thought they could get to a trade hub and buy or sell something quick and get out of there, and then they just kind of pick them off, and that's kind of what they do. It's kind of the easiest type of PvP you can really do in the game. So it's very like bottom of the barrel thing. And, most groups tend to eat one of these war decks, at least once in a while. And people just ignore it because it's not really worth trying to bother with it and trying to fight people on the undock, if that's all they do all day. So yeah, there's quite a bit of resentment among other people, in large part because of how they operate. One of their members told me that they're like the mafia, and I kind of told them, no, you're kind of like delinquent high schoolers picking on middle schoolers. So, don't think so highly of yourself. It's very funny if you interact with these types of groups. A lot of them are quite delusional, and they kind of have this vision of themselves of like, the universe pivots off of the actions that they do, camping, Jito or Amar on dock, and it's quite funny. And I try to recommend to these people, like, get out of your little bubble, go to low sec, go to null sec, and you'll kind of see how kind of irrelevant you actually are.
In my recent interview with Fleet Commander Naliao Vee, he mentioned a surprise ally he referred to as the Wormhole Koreans.
Yeah, so I'm not going to comment on the level of coordination, if any, we had with this group, but I will say that, the plan was basically to kick it off actually tomorrow at the earliest. And then we, they reinforced one of the Fortizars, and I just said, hey, we got to go. This is it. Fortune favors the bold, and we got to take this opportunity to go. Even if it's a little early, we can take it a bit by surprise. They're probably not going to expect an armor timer because the group that hit the shield timer, their war ended, so they probably didn't expect anything for the armor. And then we hit it with, pretty overwhelming numbers, so they really couldn't do much. And then they didn't really have time to even prepare for the whole timer. I talked to their CEO at the time, and he was just kind of realizing, who was kind of operating as a counterpart on the other side, fighting them. And, he said something about, there's going to be so many people to come side with them or whatnot. Nobody really came. I think it was just absolute order, which are kind of absolute garbage. And it didn't really provide much help to defend the whole timers on this. So yeah, we burned through 2 Fortizars pretty easily. I don't even think they were enjoyable in the sense of combat for a lot of the people, but I think it was cathartic just to, beat up the bully and then see all the salt that goes from that.
What significance do you feel this event had in New Eden history?
Well, it kind of harkens back a bit for me back to late 2015, early 2016, kind of when the first World War B kicked off, whenever a bunch of different people aligned together to dethrone the Imperium from whenever they held up the area in the north. So this type of thing doesn't quite happen as often. Even people were making posts on Reddit of, I'm in fraternity and I shot these guys with my enemies and it was actually enjoyable, So it's nice to see that sort of cross coalition, partnership to work together like that. So that's unique. The other aspect of this is I think a lot of these war deck groups sometimes target very small entities that perhaps in the future would grow to be bigger corporations and maybe even move out to nullsec and actually flesh out the game even more in terms of population. But I think groups like SRS kind of pick the fruit before it's ripe and kind of hurt the game overall. I don't have any sort of horse in the race because I'm not really in high sec, but that's kind of the impression I've been getting from kind of interacting with groups like this over the years. Yeah, I think they've been kind of drinking their own Kool-Aid, thinking they're cool mafia types, running protection rackets and feeling real gangster, and then they ran up into some people that can put them down, and they found out.
So what's next?
As far as this goes, as this campaign goes, I think we will continue it. Certain groups are likely to kind of rotate in and out as war mechanics allow. The client's very happy with what's going on. Shameless plug if you're interested in hiring, working for other people as well to kick off these types of things depending on your needs. But client's very happy with what's going on. I think we're going to continue it because we're hit while the iron's hot, and then after a few weeks of them kind of eating it, we'll reassess kind of what we want to do and go from there.
Were you actively participating in the battle, or did you primarily act behind the scenes?
No. My characters don't have the security standings to be in high sec, unfortunately. I've also just kind of been busy real life. I've basically just been kind of one hand texting, coordinating this on my phone while doing a few other things, and that's kind of what I've been doing in that regard. It's mostly just kind of been organizing stuff, making sure people are working together, sort of picking out, okay, this fleet will do that, this fleet will do that, and then just putting the people together that are actually, that have boots on the ground and having them sorted out. And to my surprise, everybody's been working extremely well together. There hasn't been any sort of drama or issues like that, which is just kind of rare for these types of things. But, hey. We were kind of laughing about it before we kicked it off. It's like these guys are going to be so confused. They're not going to understand what is even going on.
Have you spoken to anyone in SRS?
Yeah, I try to reach out to SRS leadership. I reached out to their head guy. I think his name is Storm or something like that. Very cordial. I didn't try to talk crap or anything like that. It was just kind of like, hey, by the way, kind of organizing this thing. No hard feelings. I just want to open a line of communication in case we want to talk things out or whatever. And he seemed pretty salty. Like, he was very dismissive and insulting, and wasn't very charitable in his conversation, to say the least. And so I reached out to his second in command guy, and he replied once and then blocked me. And that was about it. But that'll be in the equation, in the bottom line at the end of all this as well.
I take it your client is happy.
Every bit of it. I've done a few of these before. I think the other one that was kind of more public that I did like this was in Solitude a few years back, and this one definitely even tops that. It's wow.
As a criminal organization with the combined might of rival alliances, it seems everyone united in agreement to send a message to SRS.
Yeah, as far as altruism goes, this is probably one of the more altruistic things I did in EVE. I really do think that it'll be better for population in EVE and game retention wise. I think it'll give a few people some respite, and maybe even help show other high-sec war deck groups, which, if that's how you want to play, that's fine. Play your game. You're paying your $20 per month, whatever you do, what you want. But I think it might make them think twice about going too crazy about it, and maybe like, oh, hey, maybe we should, sustainable hunting, Yeah, don't overfish the pond, because, then nobody has anything downstream in the ocean whenever the fish grow up, So it's the EVE circle of life, Nazakamian. Yeah, and it's. I think you just have to have a variety of content, or else you kind of, or a variety of ways to do things, or else you kind of get a reputation. If you constantly just sit on the undock, or you constantly just sit and camp a gate, then that's kind of all you do, and it's such a waste of time. Like, I don't have time in my life, to sit around for 4 hours on a gate waiting for something to jump in. It's almost like a gambling sort of addiction. I think that's probably what keeps people stuck on that, and it's just never really been appealing to me. I can understand it being part of a wider strategic sort of thing where you're camping a gate because a particular alliance uses it for logistics and you want to hamper their logistics or whatnot, but otherwise it's do it if there's nothing else going on, but try to find something else, in my opinion.
What is your opinion on PvP players who primarily gate camp and station camp?
Yeah, I mean, just, if people camp a particular gate too much, other people are going to know about it, and people are going to be like, oh, hey, why don't we drop on them, put some bait out, and, there's always a bigger fish in the pond, and I know the SRS guys are going to complain about, oh, we got blobbed, and so many people came to drop on us. That's fine. You guys did the same thing on your level against smaller people. Now somebody else bigger is doing it for you for no worse of a reason than you did it to others. So that's that. Deal with it. If you want a fair fight, go to a tournament. Everywhere else, there's no fair fights in EVE. So if you expect it, you're playing the wrong game.
What makes New Eden so special?
Yeah. I mean, the beautiful thing about this game is that it really allows people to shine through just personality and charisma and just, talking to people and arranging things. It's not stuck on just the mechanics of the game itself. I would probably say that you can do a lot more in regards to EVE outside of EVE than you can in sometimes, So it's just about finding your balance. As far as PvP, I mean, just as a personal note, I don't multi-box. I just use one character. My kill board's fine. It's just kind of about picking and choosing your engagements and knowing your limitations and just playing in a really opportunistic way. And people might call that, oh, well, you have to be brave. You have to just throw your face against a brick wall. I don't agree with that at all. Pick your fights, be strategic about it. If you're having a fair fight, you're either in a tournament or you screwed up your plan.
Did you have anything else you'd like to mention?
Nothing else. I guess I'll put in a plug for my alliance. SERAPH Division is recruiting small gang pilots for Angel Cartel. We want PvP pilots, people that are have a history of small gang, know how to play the game, and can work together in U.S. time zone. Although I have some Euros, but mostly U.S. time zone, and just kind of be chill and laid back. That and for the record, I don't have any animosity for these guys. It's literally just a contract for me, so I wouldn't even mind working with them in the future. And I think I told Storm that